and you have 3 I can statements that our lesson is covering. I can find intercepts from a graph, table, or equation. I can sketch a graph based on a description, given intercepts or a real-world situation. I can interpret the X and Y intercepts given a real-world situation. So when we're talking about intercepts, we're talking about X and Y intercepts. And so what those are, first visually, if you look at this picture, we have a coordinate plane, and there's a line graphed on it that is crossing your y-axis and crossing the x-axis at some place. So the y-intercept is literally where the graph intercepts, okay, where it crosses the y-axis, okay? And the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, where it intercepts it, okay? So if you think about the word intercept, you know, maybe think about football, okay? If your quarterback throws an interception, it gets intercepted, okay? There's like a meeting between the opposite team and the football. So, you know, maybe this is the path of a football and the other team is the axis. So the y-intercept is where it crosses, where it intercepts, or the x-axis where it intercepts. And then if you're looking at the coordinates, there is something that's always true about these intercepts. So when you are at the y-intercept, the x-coordinate is always 0. Okay, 0 is the x-coordinate is always 0. And the x-intercept, your y-coordinate is always 0. Okay, so this is always true. So if you're looking at a list of ordered pairs or a table, and you're trying to figure out what are the x and y intercepts from that, look for where x or y are 0. Okay, so wherever x is 0, that's your y-intercept. Wherever y is 0, that is your x-intercept. Or if you have a picture, you can visually find it by looking for where it crosses the axis. Okay, so as you go through these slides, this one isn't as long as our one from Monday. You have a little video on finding intercepts. You have an interactive slide where you're going to drag a yellow dot and a red dot. Okay, I want you to drag the red dot to the x-intercept and the yellow dot to the y-intercept. So make sure you know which one is which. And then here's a table of values. And from this, you're going to be able to tell me which ordered pair represents the y-intercept. Okay, which ordered pair is representing the y-intercept there. And I just talked to you guys about how you would do that. And then there's an example here of sketching a graph. Okay, so the air temperature is -6 degrees Celsius at sunrise and rises 3 degrees Celsius every hour for several hours. The air temperature after x hours is represented by the function f of x equals 3x minus 6. Remember, function notation, this f of x, this is just like y. So f of x equals 3x minus 6 is the same thing as y equals 3x minus 6. It's a function. And so over here is the graph of that line. Because the y-axis is this bold vertical line. Notice how it's labeled f of x, because f of x and y are basically the same thing. And this pink dot is at -6. So your y-intercept is -6. The y-intercept is -6. And then the x-intercept is +2. That's where this line is crossing at +2. The x-intercept is 2. And the way they figured this out is that we are rising 3 degrees each hour. Okay, so your x-axis is time, and this is part of a coordinate plane. Okay, it's just the right side of a coordinate plane. And so starting at -6, every hour we're going up 3 degrees. So after 1 hour, you're at -3. After 2 hours, you're at 0. After 3 hours, you're at 3 degrees. Okay, and just continues on in this direction. So then you're going to have a graph where you're going to identify and plot both intercepts on the graph and connect the points with the line segment. You're going to do something similar here. And then you have another video about interpreting intercepts. And then you have a multiple choice question about those intercepts. So what I'm going to have you do now is I'm going to put you into student paced mode, and you can jump through any slide you want to at any point. And we're going to be working on this for a while. You're going to watch those videos. You are going to, let's zoom out. So I'm going to stop student paced, and I'm going to come back to our Google Meet presentation. So if you want to come back to the Google Meet presentation, I'm going to go over what the correct answers are. After we're done doing that, I'll turn it back on to student paced, and then you can go back and keep playing with it. Later, after maybe like in 30 minutes, I'll be able to post a video of all the parts where I was talking to you guys, cutting out the boring part in the middle where you're just trying them and I'm typing responses to you. So anyhow, y-intercept, okay, it's where the x-coordinate is 0. X-intercept is where the y-coordinate is 0. And so, if I look at your responses here, there's a lot of things going on. I probably should have made this dot slightly larger. But the red dot to the x-intercept. So right here at 3, 0, this is your x-intercept. So your red dot should be right there. And then the yellow dot to the y-intercept is right here. Okay, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So that's 0, 10. Yellow dot here, red dot there. X-intercept is on the x-axis, y-intercept is on the y-axis. And then on this one, a lot of us got confused. What ordered pair? Remember, ordered pair is in parentheses. You have an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. So what ordered pair from that table represents the y-intercept? So it's the y-intercept, you know, if you're looking at the x values and the y values are your f of x values. I'm not looking for where it's 0 here, okay, because the y-intercept has an x-coordinate of 0. So I look for where it's 0 in the x column, and this is my ordered pair, 0, -9. 0, -9, 0, -9. So this is great. With the parentheses around it, that's exactly what you want to have. All right. And sketching the graph here, a dolphin is 42 feet underwater, ascends at a constant rate for 14 seconds until it reaches the surface. So we don't know the rate, but from this we know the intercepts. We know that starting time of 0, he is 42 feet underwater. And then he's ascending as time moves on until 14 seconds is reached and he's at the surface. So this is the two intercepts are represented by, go ahead and show some work here. So this person has it correct. The x-intercept is at 14. It is the point 14, 0. And the y-intercept is at -42. It is the coordinate, the ordered pair that represents this would be 0, -42. And so that one's good, that one's good, that one's good, that one's good. I think if I star it when I review it, it only shows the ones that got it right, or at least first. I don't know, it wasn't doing that before, but now I don't know why that happened, but it is. Last problem you had was a drag the dot to where it goes, and not too many of you got to this one. Only 7 of you responded. Okay. Nirmala graphed the relationship between the duration in hours of oil, of using an oil lamp, and the volume in millimeters of oil remaining. Okay, so right here, our graph oil volume, we're up here at, looks like right under 50, maybe like 48. And then as time moves forward, starting at 0, moving forward till hours later, looks about 32. Okay, moving down. What feature of this graph represents how long Nirmala can use the lamp before it runs out of oil? So the thing we're looking for is this point right here. Okay, so this would be when the oil is gone, right? That's 0. And then this is the time that that happens. And the correct name for this is the x-intercept. Yeah, so the two that responded correctly, I was able to mark them both correct, so they are showing up in what I'm showing you right now. Okay, so this is called your x-intercept. It's where the graph intercepts the x-axis. So I am going to go ahead and put this back onto student paste. And then you can go back now to any of these slides, and you can change your answers, or you can still try some of them. You can watch the videos. Where am I trying to go right now? That's the end of our lesson. It is 11:35. We have 5 more minutes. And so in the last 5 minutes, if you are good and you know what's going on, you can leave the meet. If you want to stay on and ask a question about anything, about any of the assignments you had this week, about HMH, about the question in Google Classroom, you can do that, or a question about our lesson today.